Hi everyone, Evelina from Arcadia here. Today on Inspire, we have Rachael Chin, product manager here at Arcadia. As product manager, she's the voice of the customer and is the one that helps identify and relate to customers' pain points and maps what we should build to make Arcadia an awesome product everyone keeps on wanting to use. Hi Rachael, great to have you. Thanks for joining us today. How are you?
Hi Ev, nice to meet everyone here. So today I'm going to share with all of you aspiring entrepreneurs out there on how to build an MVP product. So are you excited?
Awesome, super excited.
Yeah, so first thing first, what is an MVP product? On Technopedia, an MVP product, which is a minimum viable product, is a product technique that which a new product or website, so take note here, a new product or website only develops sufficient features to satisfy early adopters. And the final and complete sets of features is only designed and developed after considering feedbacks from the product's initial users. So you can see that the three key characteristics of an MVP product is to have enough value, only enough value for people to willing to use it or buy it initially. And then the next key point is to demonstrate enough future benefit to retain early adopters. And the last one, to provide a feedback loop to guide future development. So what does it mean here? It means that you shouldn't be wasting all your money to develop a product that nobody will want to use without even testing your market demand first. The sad case here is that why would we want to develop an MVP product? Because more than 100 startups out there, 42% of the startups fail because of the main reason there's no market need. And also, more than half of these startups spend months or even years building a product when they found out that their core assumption is that nobody is even interested in their product in the first place. So why would you want to spend money building a product that nobody wants to use it? So an MVP is a process that everyone adopts in order to test the market that they would like to launch in. This is a graph that shows product development. So initially, during a product development, you have a lot of assumptions that you make in order to test whether your product is successful. Based on all these assumptions, you build different features to satisfy market needs. So if you are successful and you reach the proof of concept point, your product will be successful and most people will want to use it or even spend money using your product. And then your product is mature and earning lots of money. However, this is not always the case because the case is your assumptions might be wrong. And if your assumption is wrong, you have to go back to the drawing board to think of new ways, new assumptions that market would want to use your product. Such assumptions are like will make your business pivot every time one of your assumptions is wrong. And you have to always pivot until a point whereby people are willing to use your product and willing to pay for it. And then that's the point whereby your product is mature and stable. So a lot of business out there spend a majority of their time just during this first period of their product, which is the trial and error period and pivoting, knowing your customer, knowing the market, knowing what exactly people want in your product. So enough said why would we want to build an MVP product. So next is, how do we build an MVP product? So the first thing is to figure out what's the problem you are solving and who you are solving for. So a great example for this is to always be in your customer's shoe. So why do I need this product? And how can it help me? So for a great way to understand this is through an example that I'm going to give. So for example, I'm an entrepreneur that wants to build a peer-to-peer marketplace for buying and selling of used baby clothes. So who's the customer here? The customer for the sellers would be maybe moms with kids that has grown out of their baby clothes and wouldn't have any use for them. And for customers, who are the customer here? They might be new mothers that wants to buy new baby clothes. But why would they want to buy new baby clothes? It might be because they want to save money, or because they do not see the use in buying new baby clothes. So through this, you can actually identify who are the customers that are using your product. And with that, you also will know what are the pain points that they are facing right now. And through that, how do you solve their pain points? So that comes to our next thing. Always know your competitors. So if you think that your product is super unique and there's no need to do any market research, most probably you are too naive, because there's definitely a competitor out there, be it's direct competitor or a non-direct competitor. A direct competitor might be doing exactly what you are doing, but in a different geographic area, or a non-direct competitor might be, for example, these baby clothes. Your more direct competitor can be as far as the physical shop out there selling new baby clothes, or your non-direct competitor could be eBay or Amazon or peer-to-peer bidding websites that are selling used baby clothes. So they might not be solely focused on used baby clothes, but they are still solving your customer's pain point, which is trying to sell their old baby clothes and trying to buy baby clothes for their newborn baby. So with this, you will know what kind of features that your competitors are providing, what kind of problems they are solving for their customers, and then with that, you can know what's their weakness and their strength. With that, you can build the unique point of your product. So always learn from your competitors. Even though they might not be your direct competitor, there's always things to learn from them. So the third one, define the user flow. So the common mistake that people do when they develop a product is that they do not define a user flow. They go straight to designing features that they think that will be beneficial or value add to their marketplace. But without defining your user flow, you might be spending a lot of money on features that your customers will never use. As such, a lot of our customers say that they might need a super advanced review system that pulls from a lot of other places of how credible your sellers or buyers are. But this may not be the best way to solve the problem, because what's the problem here? And how can you solve the problem in the most effective and cheaply? So for example, in my B2B peer-to-peer baby marketplace, so to identify the user flow from the point of the sellers, a user flow could be what would the seller want to solve? They want to advertise their old baby clothes. They want to sell their baby clothes. Once they sold their baby clothes, how would they fulfill the order? And lastly, how can you receive the money? So after you identify the user flow, then you go to the next point whereby you list down the features to prioritize them. So with your user flow, you can exactly list down the features that solve this exact point of the user flow, which is advertise for baby clothes. So what are the features needed to advertise baby clothes? I need a platform, I need an interface for me to upload my baby clothes name, price, what size are they, where are they from, and the quality of it. So that is something that you define as a feature, which is an interface for you to advertise the baby clothes. And then the next one, selling a baby clothes. So how do you sell baby clothes? With that, you can identify that the feature for you to sell the baby clothes might be a consumer storefront for people to search baby clothes and then buy baby clothes. And lastly, fulfill orders and then receive orders. What are the respective features that is needed in order to fulfill this part of the user flow? So with that, once you identify your features, it's time for you to prioritize your features in terms of highest priority all the way to the lowest priority. So what do I mean by highest priority here? Highest priority would mean that features that if you do not build, you can't fulfill this part of the user flow. So for example, if a mother would want to list their listing for baby clothes and you do not have an interface for them to list their baby clothes listing, then that is a feature that is high priority. For if that's a feature whereby I can pull every single feature description from all the successful marketplace out there so that my mothers will spend little time to list their baby clothes. With this, if you think again, without this feature, would mothers still be able to list their baby clothes listing? Yes, they will still be able to do so. So with that, you can put them at a lower priority. So once you have done this prioritization, it's time to see that in each part of the user flow, what are the features that you have to build in order to fulfill the part of the user flow. And with that, you can identify that these features will be the part of the features of your MVP product, and the rest of the feature that will value add will only need to build them if first you have enough money, second enough time, or you have identified the market enough to know that it will increase your business or you value add to your customer. And based on that and your marketplace, you can build them according to priority and how it will benefit your business. So once you have prioritized them, obviously build, launch, and learn. I always tell our customer out there that you should always launch your product as soon as possible, because by launching your product and people using and testing your product, you actually learn a lot of valuable information about your product. And with that, you can actually know that some of the features that you think or some of the assumptions that you make earlier in your product could be absolutely wrong. And with that, you can actually very quickly pivot and save money on unnecessary product build. And with that, once you learn and this constant feedback loop cycle, that's how you build a successful product. So I'm going to end this slide with a favorite quote of mine. And it's something that I always try to live by, but even though it's very painful, it's absolutely true. So it's by the founder of LinkedIn. If you are not embarrassed by the first version of your product, you have launched too late. So good luck, everyone. Any questions?
I'm sure that everybody is really grateful to hear, just the basics and fundamentals of actually how to build a product and, what they should be thinking about while they do that. Obviously, a lot of people listening or almost everybody listening are trying to build their own startup and do their own marketplace. So very awesome. So first question is, obviously everybody wants their MVP to be perfect. And your last slide, as Reid Hoffman said, is, if you launch too late, and if you're not embarrassed by it, then, it's too late for you. So in your opinion, how bad, well, maybe not bad, but how basic can an MVP be when you launch?
Okay, my favorite example of an MVP product out there would be DropBox. Their MVP product is actually not a product at all. It's actually a video explaining how DropBox is able to work. And you can see that by producing that video, actually all the founders out in DropBox are developers. They could have built DropBox easily and they have the technical expertise to build it. But instead, they did it the smart and most effective way to see whether even people are interested in the whole idea of Dropbox. So they created a video with some slides and some interactive action saying that, hey, by dragging this thing into this cloud base, it will be synced, and then I can retrieve this file from another laptop. With that, overnight, more than 100,000 people actually subscribe to their website and show that they are interested in the idea. So you can see that MVP product wouldn't need to be a real product itself. It just need to test whether there's market demand out there. Another great example for MVP product would be by Zappos, the very famous shoe brand shop out there. They actually initially created a site without any inventory. And the founder went on to the physical shop and took photos at every single shoe out there, because he wasn't sure at that point of time, he wasn't sure people are willing to buy shoes online. And he wasn't sure whether what kind of information people would need if they buy shoes online. And also it's like, would it be even successful? Instead of spending money on creating inventory or creating a beautiful site, he just created a very normal site, took pictures of all the shoes from their physical shop, and then post it online. And if there's an order, he actually walk over to the shop, buy the pair of shoe, and then do the fulfillment. So yeah, MVP, you just need to fulfill 3 things: to know whether there's market demand, to know enough features to prove to the early adopters that you have enough value for your future product, and then there's a feedback loop for people to tell them that what kind of things they would want to see in your future product. That would be a great MVP product.
I think that's a really great point that keeps on getting brought up as well, is that you don't have to have everything figured out. And those examples are really great because in the end, there's these big companies and they didn't have anything. It's just, here's a video or here's, an idea. So on that note, for people who are building on Arcadia, what do you think would be a very good minimal MVP that they could create on our system?
Okay, I guess nowadays a lot of entrepreneurs are very lucky because technology is so simple and so cheap nowadays. Everything is built on SaaS, modularized. You can easily build something cheaply. You don't even need a video right now. You can do a real marketplace cheaply, and then you can launch it to test your market demand. What I tell my customers usually is I will need to first answer like my slides. What are you solving and who are you solving for? With that, you will know that what kind of value added service you can provide for the marketplace, because the marketplace technology that we have provided is more than enough for MVP. So for example, an industry that really need to build on trust because the sellers and buyers do not believe each other. So a great way for a marketplace owner to create that level of trust could be an escrow product that you hold the fund first and then only release the fund once the transaction and the fulfillment has been completed. However, that could be a cheap way to produce this feature, and that could be a very expensive way to produce the feature. So often I tell my customers always go for the cheap way, because you might not even realize that people might not want this escrow product. So a cheap way of producing this feature would be just hold the money, and then if your seller fulfill it, they send you an email and you manually bank transfer them. A lot of customers would tell me that they would like to automate this process. The cheap way might cost $200 just to achieve the same experience for your buyers. But the most expensive way would be the whole flow of automation, working with your banks, with your payment gateways, just to automatically transfer the funds. But once you launch the product, and if you deem that the market wouldn't want this feature, you spend thousands of dollars on something that people hate and people wouldn't want to use. So my advice for them is do something manual first. If this is a problem that you spend a few hours a day just to do manual settlement, that's a happy problem to have. So it means that you can spend money now investing on the automation of your payment flow. However, if you spend money on automation of your payment flow and nobody use it, it's not something that you can reuse for your rest of the marketplace. I would rather you spend these few $1,000s on SEO, marketing, create new blog posts. That's value added that you can be far greater than developing a feature that nobody uses.
So the next point that I wanted to bring up that you talked about in your presentation was knowing your competitors. Very important. Obviously, there's always somebody with a bright idea, and we're not all special. But knowing your competitors, and let's say you do have competitors, as most people do, How do you, when you create your MVP, do you have to have everything that your competitors have, or how do you balance between, what they have, what you think you have an edge on?
Okay, very good question again. And that's something that everyone constantly struggle with, including myself. So when you look at a competitor and they have features that far surpass your MVP feature, so you then will ask yourself whether will you launch your product immediately, or will you spend more money or time invested in your product just to reach the same level as your competitor. Usually I'll ask them to look at the competitor and see how close is your competitor. For example, if your competitor is doing the exact same thing in the exact same location, targeting the same geography and same type of customer with the same income level, this is like the closest competitor you can ever have. Then you need to start thinking, should I even enter this market, or whether I should be doing something else? Because if your competitor is not doing very well, they have a weakness, then spend most of your time targeting that weakness, because that might be something that you have a competitor edge over. Mm-hmm. And you may not necessarily build every single feature that your competitor have. So for example, for Facebook in the past has all these features whereby you can message, you can share image, you can talk about your status, you can play games. But when Instagram came in, what did they do? They only did one thing, and that's filters of images, beautiful images, and just sharing of photos. With that, they actually created a whole new niche market within what we think that is a saturated market. So with that, they actually do have a market demand, and they do not even have to build everything that Facebook will have built, because initially Instagram wouldn't have all the money or capital that Facebook have. And if they spend all their money on all the features that Facebook have built, it wouldn't be as fantastic or as sophisticated as Facebook would. Then why would people jump from Facebook over to Instagram? So that's a question that you should ask yourself. And then the next one is non-direct competitors. Non-direct competitors, if they have features that you do not have, then you need to start asking yourself whether are they targeting the same type of customers that you are targeting. And if they are not, then don't bother building that feature. If yes, again, then you need to go back to the whole new thinking process that I mentioned just now, and then choose to only build features that will give you a competitive advantage.
That's a really wonderful example with Facebook and Instagram. So to wrap up, Rach, what's one piece of advice you'd like to give everyone today before you go?
Launch your MVP product as fast as possible. Iterate your MVP product once you know enough information. And if there's a way to launch your MVP product cheaply, always go for the cheaper option.
Love it. Great advice. All right, everyone. This is Rachael Chin, our product manager here at Arcadia. Rach, if somebody wanted to reach out to you or, contact you to talk about either MVP stuff or just, try to get more spoilers about Arcadia or not, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Subscribe to Arcadia YouTube. Follow our community forum, which is here. We always ask people what they want in our community forum. And also, if you want to contact us, always drop us an email at hello@arcadia.com. We'll always love to know what's the next big idea you would like to build.
That's true. We love feedback, guys. Give us feedback, comments below, come to the community forums. We're all about it. All right. Well, that's all we have for today. Thank you, Rach, for joining us. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in on today's session of Inspire. Until next time, be inspired.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.